All right, so today we will be going over the six kingdoms along with some other vocabulary to help you understand for your project. So first, we're going to talk about uni and multicellular organisms. So multicellular just means it's made of two or more. So some examples: plants, animals, fungi. Unicellular means that it's one. Uni means one. So it's an organism made of a single cell. Some examples are protists and bacteria. And you can see down below there's a picture for that. Prokaryotic, eukaryotic, just to recap, we know pro means no, so no nucleus, and eukaryotic means that they have membrane-bound organelles in a nucleus, and you can see the pictures below. That should be a nice little simple recap for you on that. The last vocabulary before we start getting into the kingdoms, we have autotrophic, which means it makes its own food. So something like a plant, that would be autotrophic. And then heterotrophic is something that gets nutrients from the food it consumes. So it's a consumer. So we have the beautiful little cow there for heterotrophic. So autotrophic means it automatically makes its food. Heterotrophic means it has to go out and consume food or eat food for energy. All right, our favorite time, it's recap time. So now explain the difference between autotrophic organisms and heterotrophic organisms. And then also provide one example of each. And then what is the difference between multi and unicellular organisms? And then also provide an example for each of those. Remember, that's written in your science notebook. All right, so here are your domains and kingdoms. There are 3 domains. And there are 6 kingdoms that fall within those domains. So domains are broader, they're more broad, and then kingdoms get a little more specific. So the first domain is bacteria, and inside of that domain there is eubacteria. The second domain is archaea, and the kingdom inside of that is archaebacteria. And then finally, our third domain is eukarya, and then inside of that, we find our last 4 kingdoms. We have Protista, fungi, plantae, and animalia. So the environment, this is what it's like where they are, their niche, okay? Archaebacteria lives in extreme environments. Eubacteria is everywhere in daily life. So for example, in your large intestines. Protista, you'll find those in pond waters, also in the land and the air. Fungi on trees and on the ground. Plantae everywhere, land and water, obviously. Animalia, obviously everywhere, land, air, and water. All right, so we'll start with eubacteria. So in the kingdom eubacteria, bacteria can live in many places on the earth. It has tons of different habitats, including living inside of other organisms. So they are unicellular, prokaryotic. They can be autotrophic, or heterotrophic, they can be either, and they have cell walls to help give it structure. So here's an example of a picture there of eubacteria. It comes in different shapes, so it can be round, it can be spiral or rod shaped. There's all different types of shapes for the bacteria. It can cause a wide variety of diseases, which we talked about with our body invaders. So we have strep throat, bubonic plague of the Middle Ages was a eubacteria. It plays an important role in decomposition, the breaking down of things, and also in our intestines and stomach in our breaking down our food. We'll go ahead and skip on that one. All right, so archaebacteria. So archaebacteria, it lives in extreme habitats, so such as hot springs, geysers, volcanic hot pools. It's unicellular, prokaryotic, autotrophic or heterotrophic. It can be either. And it has cell walls with it as well to provide that structure. So here we have Yellowstone Park. So the bright colors from the archaebacteria glowing in the extremely hot water. So you can see that there in the picture. So that's an extreme environment where not very many things could survive, but archaebacteria have developed that adaptation to survive there. So here we have another picture of some archaebacteria, Bacillus infernus. So somewhere that some like it hot is what it says. So they live in extreme conditions. Archaebacteria can live deep in the ocean near geothermal vents, and those geothermal vents are called black smokers. There's no light, so they carry out chemosynthesis instead of photosynthesis. So they're going to create their own food through the process of chemosynthesis instead of photosynthesis. Our next kingdom is Protista, extremely diverse group. So it's eukaryotic. Most are unicellular. Some are multicellular. So most of Protista are unicellular, and some are multicellular. In our Cell Body Invaders project, some people had a Protista. Some have cell walls, and some carry out photosynthesis with chloroplast. So these are very interesting organisms because some of them are able to carry out photosynthesis, such as a plant might. Here's some examples of protistas. You have a euglena, a volvox, slime mold, amoeba. We watched the Amoeba Sisters, right? So that's where they get that from. So it has a euglena's autotrophic, amoeba's heterotrophic. Now, the kingdom of fungi. These are eukaryotic. Most all are multicellular. They're heterotrophic. They're decomposers, and they have cell walls. So here's some beautiful fungi. We have bread mold down there. Leave your bread in the cupboard too long. And then we have just some different mushrooms, decomposers, different types there. Kingdom of Plantae. So they're eukaryotic, multicellular, meaning more than one cell, autotrophic, meaning make their own food. And they also have cell walls and chloroplasts. Chloroplast is the place inside of plant cells where all of your photosynthesis takes place and energy is made. All right, so here we have some examples. We have a fern, a flower, some pine trees, some bean sprouts, some grass, just some different types of plants. Kingdom Animalia, last but certainly not least, because that's you. Eukaryotic, multicellular, meaning more than one cell. Heterotrophic, meaning we have to consume our food. They do not have cell walls, and they do not have chloroplast because we don't make our own food, so we don't need chloroplast because we have to eat our food. We do not have cell walls either. So here's some Kingdom of Animalia. Just some beautiful coral snakes, sponges, jellyfish, flatworms, octopus, a bear. You could insert your face over there because you fall into that category. All right, our last slide today. This is where you're going to fill out the graphic organizer that I have passed out. So it's the kingdom and domain characteristics. So on the left side here, you have your domains, and then you have the kingdoms. You have the type of cell they are, either prokaryotic or eukaryotic. You have what their cell structure is like, okay, if it has a cell wall or not. The body type, is it uni or multicellular? The nutrition, how do they get their food? Is it autotrophic or is it heterotrophic or is it both? Okay, do they make their own food or do they have to consume it? And then there's some examples. So make sure that you have filled in the graphic organizer that has been passed out. You've answered your recap time questions, taken any other notes on your specific kingdom that you need to for your project, and y'all have a great day.